But here we are. I think we're live.
Yeah.
It's Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. on the West Coast. And as I said, we're live. Welcome, adventurers. I'm your guide, Sean McZoo, and this is the Reptile Show Reporter. As usual, Bill Strand, the headmaster of the Chameleon Academy, is here. Tonight, we're talking North American Reptile Breeders Convention. So I don't know why I wrote conference at Tinley. Now, buckle up because it's time to start this adventure, which I should have the thing ready, but it's not ready, so I'm going to do this again. All right, Bill, we're back. You got a blanket on, some covers, a quilt. What's going on over there, Bill?
I got my hoodie.
All right.
It's bit. Listen, we
got
just
my
got
shirt.
off of the heat wave, and the way things.
Robinson art on the front of the NARBC shirt. That they were all Adeline Robinson. I can't say it now. Art on. I didn't even notice that till I got home. I got a bunch of her art pieces, and I got a shirt and a whole bunch to say about that. But boy, Tinley was something else. It was more than just a show. It was something else, something you can't explain unless you're really there, but I'm going to try. We'll do what we can.
All right.
All right, let's take a look at the chat. All right, Mikey Ben is here. Liza Ann was here before this thing began. And welcome, everyone. All right. So.
Hey, I'm going to get to, I think I'm going to get to meet Eliza Ann at the Clint's Reptiles event.
Oh, that's awesome. That's very soon, right? Isn't it, Bill?
Yeah. Well, it's, let's see, weekend or next weekend, I guess. Is it next week? Yeah, next weekend.
Weekend, right? 2 weekends. Next weekend is, it's 2 weekends away, I think. I don't know. Never mind. All right. First, any announcements other than you're going to be at Clint's Reptiles reopening?
That's all I got right now. I'm just making it.
All right. Podcast Aid went live on Tuesday before promised. It's Seth Hurst, who was who went to a reptile show looking for a sulcata tortoise, decided to become a snake breeder. And the next thing he knows, he's making all his money making cages. So you can learn all about it. And he turns the tables on me like Bill does all the time and starts interviewing me in the end. So I left that on because he wants to be on YouTube. He didn't even have a camera for his computer, and I had to send him one to get him to talk him into doing the podcast. And now he wants to be a YouTube person. So I have extended the tree. I've pulled the power from the dark side from you, Bill, and added another one to the team. So
I'm so proud of you.
Yes. All right. So it's on Spotify, Apple, what is it? Apple Podcast, Audible, iHeartRadio, and several others. It's also live on YouTube on my our YouTube channel there. Social media pillars 1 through 4. Watch them. There's going to be a ton of pictures. I think we took 300 or more pictures at Tinley between pictures and videos, and I don't think it does it justice. It was an amazing show, but the size was let's start with the parking lot. The parking lot was not big enough. We were into the park. There's a hotel next to the center. It's Tinley's convention center. So Tinley Park, which is just southwest of Chicago, I believe. It's a suburb of Chicago. And the parking lot was not big enough. It was, by the middle of the day, there was just not enough parking spots, but it was free to park. So,
Wow.
Tinley's got that on the other mega shows that we had talked about before. And I was able to park and get in both times because I had a VIP pass. Again, the VIP pass is something awesome. You can get an hour early. And actually, on Saturday, when it opens at 10, you can get in as early as 7:30. I did not get up enough, even though it was 8:30 my time. I did not get up soon enough to get there. I think I was there at 9 o'clock their time. So, but it was incredible. And you had to have the VIP pass in order to see everything because at 10 o'clock on Saturday and 11 o'clock on Sunday, the place became a madhouse. It was bumper to bumper people, and the parking lot was too full. And because on Saturday, I had to leave at around 2 o'clock Central Time or noon Pacific to be on this guy's podcast or this guy's live talking about these chameleons that I used to breed or still breed or something like
Show
that.
business is an unforgiving mistress.
Yes, I know. So but that was a good break to come home and rest. But yeah, so I wasn't there for opening on Saturday, but I was there when it opened on Sunday. It was incredible. There were people lined up everywhere. Actually, the vendors and the VIP people who get the VIP passes. It doesn't mean you're important. It just means you paid more. They were all sitting outside waiting for the doors to open. So at exactly 11 o'clock on Sunday, the doors open and everybody rushed into the booths. Vendors were unpacking their booths and making them nice and everything like that. And I was able to walk around. It was really relaxed. Not on the vendors' part. They were hurrying to get ready for 11 o'clock opening and worrying about all the other people asking questions that they were bothering them. But it seemed really cool. So that was a great experience. I probably will put out a couple of videos of that. I took a video of the masses. I took a video of the people piling in. I took some of the other videos. So it was pretty cool. So let's see. We got the show itself is in a convention center, which is 1.5 times probably the size of the one in the mega show in Pittsburgh. Not that anyone knows exactly how big that was, but it's fairly large. It also is shaped a little bit like an arc. So not an arc, a semicircle type thing. So you couldn't actually see both ends from the other end. In the middle, you couldn't see either end because of how it was designed. And everyone had their booth were all separated by curtains behind them. And so you couldn't actually see from row to row. So when you were on the row, you were actually in the row thinking about it. I've never seen a show like that before. Of course, I've seen shows where there was 20 tables, and this was 20 tables per row or more. And so it was fairly large. And it was great because you got the experience. When you walked to the end, you couldn't see the other end because it's kind of bent that way or bent the other way, kind of like looking at the sunset or the edge of the earth. But it was really neat that way. We couldn't even figure out how far we gotten because the first day we gotten probably 2/3 now that I think about it, but I didn't know how far. We didn't know where the end was. We actually walked to the end before we left to come to do that live with you. But it was huge. But that wasn't it. It was the layout was cool, the size was great, the atmosphere was great, but there was just something more about Tinley. It's like the ultimate show in reptiles. I've never been to the shows on the West Coast, but I talked to a couple guys who've been out there and saw those mega shows. They said that one or two of them may be slightly larger, but it didn't have the same atmosphere. That's what
Okay.
I haven't been to both, so I can only trust that it was only a couple people I talked to about it that were able to have the experience from both. But it was cool. It was awesome. The first night, it's open from 11 to 5. I closed the place out because there's an auction at 6 p.m. and I didn't have tickets to that. My daughter decided she wanted to go to the auction. So it was only $5, but you had to wait in line if you didn't have pre-sale tickets. And so we waited in a long line. I was hoping that we would not have to sit for the whole auction after being on my feet all day, but we got in and they had actually some food and it was some tables, but then there was mostly chairs. And we were in the auction about 30 minutes and my daughter decided, hey, it's time to leave, Dad. And we hadn't even seen much auction, but that was disappointing because the next morning I found out something really cool. This is where you're supposed to say, what was cool, Sean?
Oh, okay. Sean, what was cool? What could be cool at an auction?
Adeline Robinson had met her fiance 10 years earlier at NARBC Tinley. They got married at the auction.
That is wild.
They actually got married at the auction, and that was crazy. All right, so who's here? Let's see. Just James Cross is the new person. So they got married at the auction. I missed it because my daughter didn't want to stay. I was tired. I was glad to get home and get some sleep, but it was that was neat and incredible. They felt so comfortable. I guess she's been at every one of them, or at least for 10 years. And her art is the shirts. All the shirts have her art on them, and I can show later in the episode. I've got several pieces of her art that I picked up, and her booth was incredible. And it was great. And I met so many people there. I met Dave Kaufman there, and we had a big discussion with him about Bill. Because Bill and he went to
Madagascar
together. So all right. So Zev Green Reptiles. Who's that again, Bill?
Chris from Michigan.
Chris. All right. Hi, Chris.
A clutch of bearded dragons.
Yes, I'm sorry that I couldn't. I can't remember all these people, but I'll learn as time goes on. Let's see.
It's funny. I'd never recognize these people if I ran into them, but just by their name, I know their Instagram name, their YouTube name, and their real name. So,
yeah, I met a few people and that I hadn't seen before. The snake discovery people were there. There was an enormous line of like 50 people in line to get a picture with them. I didn't even bother them. And the one female from Snake Discovery, her child was there, gave her a bracelet. I was going to walk up and say hello, but her child gave her a bracelet. I'm like, hey, this is family time. I need to let her enjoy the show as much as I'm enjoying the show. But who else was there? Dave Kaufman was there.
Well, you say Mike Taitula was there, but
I don't know. I never was able to find him again. So I don't know. I think he sort of said hi to me, but I think it was because he's a famous person and I'm not. And he just saw me there. I was wearing my McZoo shirt. But I walked away with my kids because I was on a mission for my family to get my son something or my daughter something. My son wasn't there; he was just getting him something from one of the leather makers, and I lost him. So so be it. But no, it was great. Let's see what else I want to talk about. The auction the auction was very raucous. I'm not sure that I wanted to stay. That because of how crazy it was with my daughter who's 17 only. But there was whiskey with every single auction item. There was every kind of different auction item. There was all kinds of stuff being auctioned off, different animals, different things. Most of it was given by vendors, and so they named the vendors and they went through that. There was pizza and cookies and something else as well. But okay, so Mikey Ben is saying that Mike Taitula was there. He posted on his Instagram account. I don't know. I don't know if it was real. Bill told me that he always puts himself somewhere, so we don't know if it was him or an AI.
Yeah, that Mike Taitula. He's kind of like Bigfoot.
Yeah, he was with Bill in Madagascar as well. Supposedly, we don't know. But let's see. Let's see. Auction.
Yeah, let's see if I can pull him up. I think I'm pretty sure that he talked about. Let's see, I can pull him up.
All right. So there was less than half of the animals were snakes. So that was a real good positive. There was I love snakes. I'm cool. Snakes are cool. We actually, as a family, I'm gonna probably put this out tomorrow as a potential pet, but it's not really a potential pet. But my wife, myself, Abigail, my daughter, who's in the wheelchair, and Mary, my youngest, actually held a green anaconda that was there. It was one of those animals that was it's an endangered species. There was something in the hallway where they were letting people hold an alligator or an anaconda, and my youngest wanted to hold the anaconda, and so the three of us got together and held it. It was for a donation, so it was good for that. To save some species. But chameleon wise, Liz Ann, there wasn't a lot. There was some good panthers. They were in cages. They were up in the air. I actually posted that to the Chameleon Enthusiast Monday with my Monday moments. But there were some chameleons that are up in cages. Most of the chameleons looked kind of sad. There wasn't much with those. There wasn't. There were a couple of let's see, there was why can't I think of it, Bill? What is the one that we always kid about not wanting, but you won't have all of them? Veiled. There was a couple veileds. There were veileds or panthers. There really wasn't much else.
All right,
unless I missed it. So it was not a chameleon show. But someone told me that those California shows are chameleon shows, and these shows are snake shows and leather lizard shows. So I don't know why that happens or what that was about, but it seemed like less than half of them were snakes, and there was a lot of lizards. There was a bunch of different things, and apparently they had this show is a it's not a no wild caught per se, but it's a captive bred, captive born, kind of they waffle in the, but everything should be born and bred in the United States. So, or born and bred somewhere out of in captivity and shipped over there. So I didn't see a wall of death like I always see in all these things where someone has all kinds of different species and there's no way they possibly could do them all. And could they really have that many friends that shipped them out these different species and behind it, and I know you can build a network of things to do and see, but having 40 or 50 different species, of different sorts in different areas of the world, most of that you think is probably some of it's flippers or what have you, where they flip the reptile. So wildcats make me sad as well. They're necessary to some extent to keep a bloodline up, but only for breeders and only select breeders who are capable of them. So
by the way, Sean, the chat's not working for me, so I can't see what's in the chat. So if there's anything that you think would be good for conversation,
I keep talking about it. Yeah. Chris said must learn from the master next to you. So that was about Seth.
Okay.
And hello, Bill and Sean was. All right. There's just a couple of carries of Canucks. That was it. What kind of chameleon can you see? And what that was good makes her sad that when you see different chameleons or any other wild caughts.
Yeah, I don't like when there's any.
There was nothing like that, Bill. There was, and it went on and on and on. There were the people who this one person had New Caledonia geckos, and they were as tame as I've ever seen them. And he assured me that if you were confident and you held them, that you'll never get bitten, because he said that he and his significant other had made a deal that if he never got bit over a period of 2 years by a gecko, that he could get a venomous snake or whatever. Snake. So he was saying that he would never be bit, and then he never got the venomous thing. But over a 2-year period of time, more than 2 years, he has never been bit by anybody. So I came home and I went to my Chihuahua cage, my male Chihuahua cage. I said, hey, listen here. I had somebody at the show tell me that you can't bite me if I know and I feel comfortable and confident. I reached in there and he bit me really good on the hand. I've got
no snake for you.
You guys, no, I didn't want a venomous anyways. He bit me right there. And he bit me and he drew blood. I was like, oh wow! Like I was feeding the third or fourth gecko and I got the bleeding. And then I got to the last one, which are Ann Panettes, who we've had on this show before, geckos, and her Chihuahua bit me, held onto my hand, and I almost threw him out of the cage. And I'm like, apparently I don't have that aura that I'm safe and okay.
They smell your fear.
My wife said that you don't exude confidence about this. You knew you were going to get bit, and that's why you did. I'm like, probably so. But no, he had them all over his table. It was incredible. And he was talking about it and talking about what he'd done. And I'm going to line him up for something at some point, because he was interesting. He was an amazing speaker. He'd never done any YouTube or anything like that, but I'm going to have him on a podcast. I'm going to figure out how to get him on it. But then there was another guy who had iguanas that weren't the standard iguanas. They weren't the standard South American kind of they were iguanas. They were green iguanas. They were different colors, but there's green and red and blue of iguana types, but they were from somewhere different. They actually been exported out to Taiwan or somewhere over in the East, and they were being bred there captively, but they were sitting on his display, just sitting there.
Okay.
They look like they were 3D printed, and we're like, and then they blink, and you're like, wait a minute, that's not an iguana. Iguana doesn't act like that. You can't tame an iguana that much. And they were just incredible. There was multiple different colors. I was so interested in buying them, but you know what? I did hold fast on those. I think he lives up in Michigan, if I remember correctly. And so he can't ship later in the year, but I'm like, I need to get some of these, but I know they're going to grow huge and I'm not going to have time to play with them as much as he does. So I'm probably not going to have a good, so I did say no to that. I mean, I said no to a whole bunch of stuff, but I did come up with something. But I did find something on my to-do list, my bucket list that I was like, oh man,
And
I
I
can't
approve.
not get this one. And the person was, he knew how old it was, and knew where it was from, it knew where its origin story, and I don't know. I'd have to go through my pictures. Bill, can you keep the people going just so I can answer this question?
Sure. What was the question?
The question was, it's the Zev Green Reptiles bought a iguana from somebody in Michigan, and I'm looking to see if who that was.
Well, yeah, actually, you said something about we need to go to the next one. Did you mean as participants, or were you talking about getting a booth or something?
Yes. Jennifer was so impressed and so excited by the whole thing. She didn't even want to just have a booth somewhere. She wanted to have one at Tinley. I don't even know if they're available, but she was the person who said, oh, you probably shouldn't keep doing the booths at the other place. But she was so excited by the whole atmosphere that she wants us to have a booth. And I thought, why not include Bill, and we could have a booth and we could have cards. I talked about you so much that I needed a card. I told you I needed cards from you.
All right, I'll get you one of those. Okay, if you are able to snag a booth, we'll have a booth. I'll put together a Chameleon Academy display. You get a.
Can you see this, Bill? On the phone? You can't really see
this.
This was I can't read it. Okay, I have pictures where I can read them. Creepy Exotics. It doesn't say where they're out of. Creepyexotics.com. 847 area code. So if that's Michigan, I don't know what that is. But that's who it was. He had all kinds of iguanas. Let's see, I just took the video. This is the video, but you can't see. I could probably, I don't know if I am not as good as Bill as getting my phone to go online. So I'm not going to try to do this during the live and mess everything up. And unless Bill wants to do some dancing and whatever, and do what we can. So yes, I want to have a booth.
All right.
Although we did find some chairs to sit in on the outside, so maybe that would have been better. But Jennifer just wanted to sit somewhere and have a booth, and maybe we'd sell some reptiles. But on the other hand, Dave Kaufman had a booth. He was giving away his pins and stuff, and that's where I met him, at his booth. There was some animals there, some snakes that were there, and he was talking from somebody from Germany, I think, from Europe at least. He was talking to and showing pictures when I came up to him the first time, but and before I introduced myself. But no, it was a booth would be really cool. I don't know how much it costs. I'll buy the booth, Bill, if you just show up.
All right,
all you have to do is fly on into Chicago. There's 2 airports there, Bill. It'll be easy.
All right. Next Tinley is in March. Is that
in March? I got the dates right here, Bill. I got them written down. I've got a hotel already. What are the dates in March? Let's see. March 2024.
15th, I think.
It's the 15th. Wait a minute. Yes, the 16th, the 17th. The 15th will be something, probably, because they always have a pre-day. And apparently they named another, they talked about another gecko from New Caledonia, another cool one, which apparently, actually, I might have it. Adeline Robinson did some art on it. Let's see if I have it here.
All right, Sean, if you get a booth, I'll be there.
You're going to be there if I get a booth. I don't know if I can get one or not.
Yeah, that's the trick, is getting a booth. If you get a booth, we'll make it a Chameleon Academy.
If I share a booth, will you be there?
What?
If I share a booth with somebody, will you be there?
You just let me know what I need, what space I need to fill with promotion marketing material, and I will do it.
I can bring a cage, Bill. I got tons of your cages, so I could bring one of my personally designed cages, or I could bring one of your old ones. And I have room in the car, so I'm going to drive again.
All right,
so,
all right. We'll just fill it with plants and maybe get
Yeah.
a chameleon in there, and I'll have some. I'll definitely have some educational material and
Mhm.
things. Yeah. You get a booth, and I will get a ticket, and I will get there.
Okay, get your ticket now, Bill.
Well,
All right,
you
so
tell
here's
me
some
you've
of
got a booth.
Adeline's art.
Oh,
This is
very
called-
cool.
This is I'm going to keep it at angles so that she doesn't get ripped off here because of
Yeah.
of the way your podcast about that. But this is a Boba Fett. These are the New Caledonia geckos. Boba Fett and whatever kind of land is. But these are named, but the names aren't here. This is Spaceballs because it's a ball python in space.
Oh boy.
This is it's a garter snake. It's a California garter snake, Bill.
Yeah.
There you go. And
go.
I'm doing these really quick because I don't want someone taking a photocopy and doing this. These are axolotls because we always have to have axolotls on the show ever since we started that way back when. And I have a red-footed tortoise that people can see if they watch my personal Instagram, actually it's Instagram and Facebook. And there's a frog.
Oh. Is that
So those are the few I got.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see here. This is her design. She even has a U.S. Ark in her design. So that's the bag you get from her. But she was very nice. And she does actually want to come on this live show.
Oh, really?
With the two of us. And she told me that it'd be a couple months because, she just got married and all. So give her a little bit of time to get, those, I think that was an inevitable kind of conclusion after that kind of thing for the time frame. But she said in November, December, give her a shout and she'll get on the show. So we'll have her on at some point. So that'll be great. So she was very nice, very kind.
Oh, yeah. She was on the Reptile Entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
And she's a wonderful person.
All right. Do I get my my pet out that I got?
Yes, get your pet out.
All right. Give me a second here. I got to get out of this chair.
This purchase is 100% approved by Bill Strand.
All right. He's like 8 months old, Bill, and he's tame as heck. Although I just had to hold him a few minutes ago. Let's see if he'll frill up for us. Here we go.
Look at, oh my goodness.
And he's not the regular kind that you see. He is Australian.
Oh,
from
so
Europe,
beautiful.
Obviously, because Australia doesn't let anything out. I don't know how I can do this better. Let's see.
Yeah, it may be a challenge.
He's holding on for dear life, but you can tell how big he is, and he's not fully grown.
No, he's not.
or bigger. This afternoon, I was trying to tongue feed him, and he frilled up for me. I thought that was the first time I've seen his frill. That's why I grabbed him, because not only did the nice guy talk to me a lot about it and tell me how he'd had him for 3 months and he was doing very well. They were tongue feeding him, and he's also, I think, out of Michigan. And I can look him up in a sec here, but he was also known to Adeline, so apparently he's a common person there at the show. But he came from Europe, born there, shipped over here, and he is cool as heck. I guess.
Oh my goodness, that is so. That is a nice addition.
There we go. See, he hangs on to me like my iguanas used to, and I can do the show kind of like the guy up north that you went to Madagascar with. What's his name?
Dave Kaufman?
No, the guy that does the top fives all the time.
Adam Wickens.
Adam Wickens. Wickens Reptiles. Yes. He always has a bearded dragon on his shoulder.
Yep.
But and apparently he's going to get a red spot on his neck. So I'm going to call him Red or Redneck. I don't know which one. I think Redneck for this area of the country, but goes well. But Red will be it for short. But he is so cool. I could not pass him up, Bill. I couldn't do it.
I don't blame you.
There was 4 of them, and he was the biggest one, so he's probably going to be a male. I don't know definitively. It's not time enough to tell. But I couldn't pass them up. I wanted to buy all 4 of them, but I didn't know if I'd have enough cage room. And I think there's 4 or 5. And I was actually on a Facebook. I got onto a Facebook group, and someone pictured the cage that they were in at NARBC, and said, "Oh, there's someone asked about an Australian frilled dragon. Did they have any? Have you seen any anywhere?" And they're like, "They're at Tinley right now." And I'm like, "I got one of them," but that was only the 3 or 4 of them that were left, and it was this one. So this was just, I could not resist myself. So it's cool. It's nice. I've actually had the where are the other ones from? It's in Indonesia somewhere. It's
Indonesia.
I guess maybe they're just Indonesian, but
Yeah,
there's some
Indonesian and Australian. I'm sure that the people deep into frilled dragons will know all the different sub locales or whatever, but that's all I know. And oh my
all
goodness,
I
I
know
had
is
frills
these
before. I
Aussies
loved
get
them.
really big. This is bigger than any frilled dragon I ever had, and I had them for a couple years. So or 7 or 8 years for one of them. But he's getting a little squirmy, but he's not used to me yet. So, all right, I'm gonna put him back, Bill.
Okay.
Having
All
an
right.
escape frilled dragon for
Yeah.
going to
Well,
work
see, that's the danger of going to these shows. You see things you just can't pass up. Although I've been doing pretty good.
And you know what? There were banana pectinatas and little baby banana pectinatas, which look like iguanas. They're green and everything, and the pied pectinatas. There was everything you can imagine. Let's see if I can figure out. Talk for a sec, Bill, so I can figure out who this guy that I got this from.
All right. Well, I've actually been pretty good at the last couple of shows,
Mhm.
and I've just come back with isopods. So,
Well, that's good. That's a
I
lot,
love
though.
my dairy cow isopods.
Mhm.
They are just so nice, and I've been growing them pretty big. I haven't been growing a lot of them. I think I keep them a little too cool, but I've been getting them pretty sizable.
Well, you slow
And
down their metabolism, they probably live longer, huh?
yeah, well, yeah, that's something I've been thinking about. We've really done very good in the community as far as growing panther chameleons, with the husbandry, now with the genetics, and then keep raising them separately. Boy, they get massive so quickly, and so now I'm thinking that we've achieved that milestone, we've achieved that goal. Question is now, is that the healthiest? And I don't have any evidence that it isn't. I mean, look, these guys are real healthy. I've got one that was from Iperdalis that came to me like what 3-4 months old and looked like a 6-month-old, and he's doing great. So, but I'm just thinking, is this really necessary? I don't even know what the question is. The thing is, I'm a little bit hesitant to allow that to become the necessary standard. Do they have to be grown up that fast to be considered healthy or a good panther? And I don't know the answer to that, because we're getting that health because we've given them the ideal conditions, day and night, the optimal conditions, and the ones I have aren't growing like that, and that's because I have mine outside, and they have cool days, they have warm days, and there's a lot of variation. So, I mean, I know they're very healthy, but they weren't grown up in ideal 24-hour ideal conditions, and so it's just it's interesting to watch the community and how we progress, and question how we can do these things, and then question how necessary do we really want to, how far do we want to push this, and so always a lot to think about.
Mm-hmm. I saw a basilic, a green basilic, but wasn't for sale. Everything I also wanted wasn't for sale.
Oh,
NFS
that's probably
on
good.
everything I wanted to buy. What the heck? Who is this NSF, and why does he keep buying my pets? So, but let's see. So it's Josh and Danielle Alder is who I bought it from, and their page is the Exotic Empire. is their the name of the group that they're part of.
Well, what are you planning on doing with these frills? Are you going to just keep one, or are you planning on breeding them?
I don't know.
Okay.
I always plan on just keeping one, and then they're like potato chips. I can't just have one. Which I'll actually, now I'm semi-allergic to Lay's potato chips. I don't know. I'm allergic to one of the oils, and they have them listed as 3 oils that are in there. So it's kind of like odd. But I digress. I don't know. I was going to breed them before. I don't know. I think they're awesome, and I'm going to keep this one. And I guess the only thing is these come from Europe, so there'd be, you know, how do you know the lines and the breeding? And I think I'm just gonna let this guy grow big and make him cool. And,
yeah, because I know Phantom Dragons is working with Australian frilled dragons.
See now, Bill, you're taking me down to the dark side.
Well, I mean, no, that's not what I meant.
Yeah, sure. All right, so let's see what we're missing in the chat here. Then get booths at Salt Lake City. I'm not anywhere near Salt Lake City, but I'm sure we know Liza Ann may be, huh? And someone said, he's adorable. Wiccan reptiles and Pectona are awesome iguana pets. I don't know. I'm going to find out at some point, but these were very young. I want the bananas, and these look like they're only a couple months old, and I wasn't going to take that risk because of the trip back, and it was hours, and I knew that I'd get home late and I wouldn't have time to put up something together that was, I have all kinds of cages everywhere in the house and all kinds of stuff, and I could build anything I want. But which is also bad, having open cages at home. But I wasn't thinking about, I was thinking, there was between the Pectinata, and it was the frilled dragon wasn't even in the list. It was between the Pectinata, the iguanas that I saw, and a tegu, and one more thing I can't remember what it was. These tegus from Rose Reptiles, or Rose City, I think it's Rose City Reptiles. They're down in Texas. Actually, I'll put a picture of me and the owner up on there. He was there. He actually, I think I put it on one of my posts already. Not the pictures, me and him, just him. But it was they had these tri-hybrid, and I could not figure out what the tri-hybrid meant. It was, they were albino tri-hybrids. I'm like, what were they hybrid for? But there's blue, there's red, and there's black and white. So they're hybrid of blue, red, and black and white, and they're albino otherwise. So it's so they have 2 albino genes and one of each of the other genes. So they are almost clear. They're like really cool. You can see multiple colors. They're beautiful. I know that I have 3 tegus now. 2 of them are almost identical, and one's a little different. I do think I have hybrid for albino. And there's the 3rd one is supposed to be something cool that I didn't even catch what the guy was telling me. But I decided I would go with, let's go with the one I don't think I'll be able to see ever again. So, and I'm trying to think about these 3. I'm thinking about them. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm thinking I was stuck on the banana Pectinata. I'm like, I'll just get a Pectinata. That was the least expensive of all of them anyway. So I was just going to get that. And there I'm walking around before the show on Sunday. And I had the people who were part of the Josh and never ever, it wasn't, he actually had his booth. He had some people working his booth. He showed up that morning to put the things together, and I was talking to him about this frilled dragon. He's like, hey, you want to hold it? And I'm like, hold it? You can hold a frilled dragon? I've had them, in a room where they can't run away and get away, but hold it out in the middle of a reptile show? And there's big Tinley? He's like, yeah, they're friendly. Here, look at it. And I'm like, which one do you want? I'm like, I want the big one on the bottom. So he took all the rest of them out. They didn't run. They didn't jump. He put it on my hand, and he just sat there. And he sat there. And he sat there. And he sat there. And I'm like, oh. I'm like, a little, 90 or 100 degrees in here. There's no basking spot. He's got a little basking spot, but not a big one. Maybe that's what it is. But ever since I've had him home, he sits, he drinks out of my mister. I just drips on him and drips on his nose, and he sucks it into his face like my other ones did. But he's awesome. So it's really cool. So I could not pass that up, Bill, and I know it's approved by you. So I knew that would be approved by you. So it's a short list and approved by you, but 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 there was no venomous snakes there either. That was kind of, they actually, there was no venomous snakes for sale. There was potentially a venomous snake. There was a animal to talk about or show, but it had to be kept in the thing. I didn't see any venomous anyways. But they also had a gecko expo on Thursday, 2 days before the show started.
Yeah, I heard about that.
And they showed a brand new, like I said, New Caledonia gecko that had never been seen before. And apparently, as I was talking to this gentleman, I got to get his name. That was with his New Caledonia geckos. One of the first booths we stopped at. He said that the New Caledonia, the country of New Caledonia, does not like the fact that other people have their geckos. They won't transport anything. They won't export anything, and they hate the fact that the United States has their geckos. And they're like really, really popular here in the United States. So it's kind of, you see them booth after booth. It was probably almost as popular as ball pythons. Actually, there's more of them, so you maybe even more popular than ball pythons. But let's see what this guy's name is. This is the guy that was talking. Rack House. Of course, Rack House, which is RHAC, which is Rhacodelius or whatever it is. It is these genus of all the New Caledonia. What used to be the only genus of New Caledonia.
Yeah, used to be
5 or 6 of them. But Rack House, RHAC, HOUSE. I think he's out of Florida. I don't know if you can see this in there, but next to the video, it's kind of hard to see the guy.
Let me see if I'll go full. I can see a little bit.
Yeah, that's the gentleman who what was his name? I got his card somewhere. I even brought a full page, multiple page folder to put business cards in, two down, 2 over and 5 down. And I filled up 5 or 10 pages of it. And I didn't get all the cards. I just got all the cards that have people that was interesting. So it was a great show. It was incredible. I have, like I said, hundreds of videos. I think my cell phone put together 273 pictures that it thought was appropriate for this trip. And it was all the show, but it wasn't all that we had. And Jennifer, now I didn't take all these pictures. Jen took about half. So, but our files, our picture files combined on the internet somehow. So we got that one file so we can keep up together. So it was incredible.
Okay.
Yeah, I got like 20 pictures of me and Abby and Jen and Mary with the anaconda. So I'll go probably put that up tomorrow. I haven't decided on which pet to choose to be the pillar number 1, which is the potential pets. I know, some people have green anacondas. I don't know who, but there was some anacondas for sale there. There were other kinds. So,
well, what is it? Tell me about the people there. You came back just so excited about all the conversations that you had.
People were friendly. They had the time to talk. Although there was a ton of people, but there was such a big expo that the ton of people was dispersed, especially in the mornings before the full expo happened. Actually, during the main hours of the expo on both days, we weren't actually there. We left and came back, so we weren't in the rush hour of the expos, which appears to be across the country, at least in the Midwest here, that the main hours are 10 or 11 to 2 is when most people are at expos. I don't know why that is, but that seems to be they get there late and they leave early. So that's when you make the most sales, apparently, it's according to our gecko person. But it was the people were, I don't know, they were just friendly. They were nice. I mean, they're all, every show there's friendly people. There were a few who were, the iguana guy was a little bit standoffish, and he had somebody displaying and talking about his stuff, and he was sitting in the back kind of working on his phone. And there was a couple people like that, but almost everybody was out. There were people who had booths just to talk. There was people selling silkworms who had the booth. They had the green basilic. They had a really nice chameleon in these really neat containers that were just show display containers. But they weren't selling the containers. They were just selling the silkworms. I think that was a booth that would be like our booth. You don't buy anything. We're just here to talk to you and have a good time. So yeah. I don't know. And there's a bunch of people sharing booths because booths are supposedly 8 foot long. And there were several people in an 8 foot long area. Now, all the big players were there. Pangea was there. Josh's Frogs was there, which are both out of Michigan.
Yeah.
And close by. So you think these are things, what is it? Reptile Basics was there. I'm naming off all the things I buy from. Reptile Basics was there. ZoomEd was huge. It was one of the biggest sponsors there. They had some really neat cages, Bill. Things that they came up with that were, and Josh's Frogs, of course, was an awesome display. They had all kinds of awesomeness, just displays and animals and everything you can imagine. Pangea they always carry the Arcadia lights, and I always get them from there because they triple block them and put them all in these packages, much like the cages you sent to me were packed so well. But who are the other big players? I mean, who else? I probably just have to go through my pictures and look, but I won't waste everyone's time looking at my own pictures. But everyone was great. It was like almost a community type. People knew each other. Even the guy that actually I'm going to put him on a podcast if I ever get him recorded. He's a little bit. He's one of those people that you talk about, Bill, that is not really doesn't really have a phone with a camera or anything on it. Doesn't do anything on the computer. He's just he's got call me on my cell phone. But he's been around for 30 or 40 years at the Cleveland show. His name his name's Mike, but it's I think Rainforest Junkies. I've got him on Saturday to record for a podcast. Let's hope we could do it. At least it'll be auditory, whether it'll be a video podcast, which is the new kind that we're doing now, but I don't know, but he'll be there. He was actually at the NARBC show. His booth is actually bigger at NARBC, so maybe I could sneak in with him. But no,
if we're gonna do it, we need a booth.
We need a booth.
We need to do it right.
We need now. The people from Snake Discovery didn't have a booth. They were just in the hallway with 100 people.
They just showed up.
Pictures with them. Now I think they have a few more followers than we do.
Yeah, yeah.
They have a few more followers that were there at the show than we have. But
ours is more spread out across the United States.
Yeah, exactly. Right, exactly. But who else was there? The one guy that I told you changed his husbandry due to your
Damon Hall.
Yes. He actually talked me into buying a book. I bought a book, and I actually got the author to sign the book. So I had the author sign the book, and I bought a book. It was on my memory is like gone today. Things have been so crazy today. But I have pictures of everything. So I got the author to sign the book, and I got the hardback copy so I could keep it forever. It's a what was it? Let's see. Here it is. No, that's a tree monitor. All right. Oh, and there's this other guy who cut things out of wood, who made wood things that look like his name is Ben Grenshaw, Herp Artwork from Archer, Florida, and he's got all kinds of snakes and bugs, and you couldn't tell if they were real. In fact, my daughter thought one of his snakes sitting in the back was real. It was, but it's all made out of wood. Of course, he made a wood turtle out of wood. He has a beaded dragon and all kinds of other stuff. So I'm trying to talk him to come on the podcast and tell me about how he makes this art and everything like that. But it was incredible. It was just in the walkway. But I was looking for something else. The guy with the book. This is me and the anaconda. This was an incredible trip, Bill. I'm going to do it again. I guess Schaumburg isn't nearly as big, or is it? Here it is. No, this is. I couldn't get this. Which one couldn't I get? The Natural History of Captive Care of False Water Cobra, Barron's Racers, and other snakes.
Wow.
Zachary Logman, PhD. Actually signed my book, and I got a picture of him with me. And the other one that he told me to get was a field guide to the reptiles and amphibians of Kenya. But it was sold out when I got there. I couldn't get it. I mean, that would have been a lot more. That's like, no, it's not a, what's that Dragons book that
Mountain dragons.
Mountain dragons. It's not mountain dragons, but it's it's all the animals in Kenya. But that would have been really cool too. The author wasn't there, obviously, but that would have been a really neat book. So yeah, I'm jazzed. I'll be jazzed. I was off Monday, and I can tell you that it was really needed. I got back. It's 5.5, 6 hours. But you lose an hour because you go to the east from the central time zone. So we got back, and I slept all night and got up, and I'm glad it was Columbus Day, and I work for the government, or not the government, but I'm a contractor to a contractor who works for the government, who is the government. So on my days, so I had the day off. So it was great to have Monday off. I'm going to have to take Monday off in March when I go there, or April. And it's March. April, I don't know what it is, but no, it was really awesome. So I recommend it highly, and I recommend the VIP pass because it's well worth it. And just make sure you can park or stay at the Even Hotel, EVEN, which is I think it's a Holiday Inn type hotel. Which is right where, but you can't get any tickets now. You'd have to be planning at least next year's fall Tinley to get any rooms in that hotel. So I was looking at it, but the whole block around 10 days around Tinley are blocked up. So
already?
And it's not a pet friendly hotel
show?
either, which seems odd to me. But it's not connected to the convention center. But Tinley it has a lot more stuff at the convention center, just like every other convention center. So.
All right.
You got to come, and then I'm going to go out. Where is the mega shows out there? Pomona
and Anaheim, Disneyland.
And Anaheim. Okay. Anaheim, Disneyland. I've been out to Anaheim. I've been to Disneyland once when I was at a conference for UCA. So actually I took my wife and my two kids that I take to everything now. The final four, as I like to refer to us, out of 7. The other 3 are off and about their own lives. It's crazy. One of them's a senior in college, and the other 2 are graduated. So I've got the bills to prove it, but they still drop by and do their laundry and other stuff. But I think my college age kid, my senior in college, came by the other day and raided the fridge and took it all with her to college. She's like 30 minutes away as you raided the fridge. I'm like, okay, that's good. Good to see you. All right. I think we've talked enough, and I'm getting really tired, Bill. So
all right.
Good night, everyone. Any other questions, Bill?
Nothing else going on.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. Good to see you.